How can we work with our emotions and actually use that vital energy that all our emotions actually represent instead of getting all worked up by our emotions and getting into negative states, right? So that's what I'll be talking about today. Hello and welcome. I'm excited you're here. In case we haven't met before, my name is Katrine Beitel and I'm coming live to you from the beautiful Bavarian forest. Now, please don't be shy, whether you're on live with me or on the replay. Do let me know where you're tuning in from so I can come back later on and say hi to you. I'm looking forward to that. So let me know, have you ever been so emotional and you made a decision out of that emotional state? And have you ever regretted making that decision when you were very emotional? I know I have. Or have you ever caught yourself thinking, why is this happening to me? Or why is this not happening for me? Right? Or have you ever been all worked up and stuck in emotion and you really couldn't get out of it? Then this is the video for you, right? So let's get going. Because it's a real thing, right? How would it feel if you had simple steps that you could follow in any situation, whether that's business related, right? And I usually give you tips on how to grow your business online, how to attract your perfect prospects, using and leveraging the power of social media. But it's all to no use, really, or to no good, as long as we don't have it going on up here, right? So on a Sunday, I like to give you some mindset help, right? So how would it feel for you if you had a process that you could follow, whether it's business related, whether it's life related in general, personal as well, right? If you could handle and work with your emotions instead of getting worked up by them and getting stuck. And this is me often, when I get real emotional, I actually start beating myself up for having gone that emotional. So let me know whether you can relate. So here's my best tips. Number one is accept the fact that emotions are part of our life. And those emotions that we want, right? We want love and happiness and feeling like loving and laughing all day long, right? We enjoy these emotions. And then there's emotions we don't really find that comfortable and we don't agree with them so much, right? With grief and anger and frustration and all those kinds of feelings, right? But they're all truly an expression of our vital energy, and they're just part of life, and we all need to find ways of dealing with them, right? So whenever you get truly emotional next time, please remember that it's normal, shows that you're a normal human being, and presumably, especially if it's a negative emotion that's keeping you stuck a little, also it's not the best place to make a decision right then and there. Okay? Emotions are part of our life, and being emotional is absolutely okay as well. I'm a dance therapist, right, in my background. So I do not want you to try to not have emotions because it's our life energy, okay? And if we don't want anger and grief and frustration, we can't enjoy the positive emotions quite as much, right? So we want the emotions, but we want to really allow them to go full cycle, because truly an emotion comes and it rises, it reaches a peak, and then it goes down again, right? And that is when we want to make the decision, not up here. Okay, let me know whether this makes sense. So number two, this is something that helps me a lot because I used to struggle. I used to be like, I was living my life real happy, and then suddenly something would happen when I was young back then, right? Something would happen, I would get so frustrated. Sometimes it was enough, for my dad, and I love him dearly, but sometimes it was enough for him to just take his breath in a certain way, and I will get really frustrated. Let me know whether you can relate, whether you've also had a time in your life when you felt that way about your dad, and I love him dearly. So, right? What helped me, and I had to learn this, was pausing, not acting upon my emotion, whether it's making a decision, whether it's telling him to not breathe that way. Right? When I look back now, I have to laugh at it. But at the time it was real. I was really frustrated with him for how can you breathe like that? Anyhow, it's just presumably a daughter-dad thing. Anyhow, so pause and get out of the situation. That's something that helps me a lot. Now, if I can, living in the Bavarian forest, I like to actually physically step outside of the room that I'm in, because that helps me. It also helps me to change rooms if I can't step outside. And actually, if I can step outside, I like to go outside without shoes on. That's so helpful for me. I don't know why, but maybe it's the grounding effect and really feeling the earth underneath the soles of my feet, right? What also helps me is listening to music or dancing it out. I love to dance. Let me know whether you can relate, right? And especially when it comes to making a decision, that I'm like tempted to make a decision on the emotion, I always sleep on it. Always, always, always. Okay? So, and here's why I would also recommend to you is while you're in the emotional cycle, right? So remember, it's coming, moving up here, right? Reaching its peak and then down again. And especially on the way up, and especially if right now is not the right time for you to get that emotional or you want to get out of it, here's another tip. Become aware of what you're telling yourself in your mind. Because oftentimes, especially when we're frustrated, we start assuming things or assuming that other people think this, that, or the other thing about us, right? Let me know whether you can relate to this. Like, nobody's doing anything about my problem, whatever. Maybe I haven't even spoken to them, right? But I'm also already in my head, I'm going, oh, they're not solving my problem for me. Can you relate? So let's catch us. Let's catch ourselves when we start thinking that, because we can really aggravate the emotion by what it is that we tell ourselves, right? Especially when it comes to making assumptions as to what other people are or are not doing. It's very, very important to remember this one. And then number 2, be on the lookout for this one very emotionally charged question. Now, if you know which question it is, put it down. If you don't know, have a guess. Which of the also many W questions is actually an emotionally charged question that can send us into loops of again and again and again? And it's not going to help us get into action again and get doing again. That question is, why? And especially when you're emotional, become mindful. Are you thinking the whys in your head? Why is this happening to me? Or why is this not happening for me? Why is, why is my live video not working? Why am I not rank advancing? Whatever it might be for you, right? And let's take that awareness of, oh, I'm in the why loop, right? Because it's a repetitive cycle, and we can stay there for minutes, for hours, for days, weeks, months, not to speak of years, right? Not a good place to stay. So instead of thinking, why is it not happening for me? Why am I not crossing the stage? Why am I not finishing my project on time? Why, whatever it might be for you, let's choose to ask different questions, okay? Now, let's take rank advancing, for example. Okay, why am I not rank advancing? I'm doing all the things. Well, how about we use the how question? How might I rank advance? And I hope that you, and I want to really invite you to feel into the difference when you say, why am I not getting any reach on my live video? Versus how might I get reach on my live video? Why am I not rank advancing? What might I do differently in order for me to be able to rank advance? Okay, because I really feel there's a huge difference for me. Let me know for you as well, right? In whether I'm in the why loop, because that's not going to get me moving, right? That's going to have, I'm having a pity party with myself, right? Why isn't it happening for me? Why? Yeah, well, okay. How about we move over here now, okay? What might I do? How might I learn to do the things? Who might I ask? Maybe you have an upline. And here's something that happens a lot as well, right? We're having a problem, we're struggling with something, and then we will not address it with the person who can actually make a difference. we're going to address it with other people, right? So in class, for example, right? Or even at my job, I have a few colleagues who love to come talking to me instead of addressing their things with the boss, who can actually make a difference for them, right? So let's think about this. Who might I ask? Not why is my boss not giving me a pay rise, whatever, right? What might I do? Who might I talk to? Who can actually make a difference for me there? Okay? Where might I turn to? Where might I go? What might I do? When might I actually do something that's going to change my life if I feel that I really need to make a change? And yeah, all these other questions, right? So let's stop the why loop, because it's 100% of the time, for me at least, why does not get me into action. Why keeps me stuck. Why keeps me thinking. Why keeps me maybe talking to other people, but it's not helping me move forward, moving the needle forward towards my goal. Okay. And all the other questions, they're way less emotionally charged. It's not about why is it, right? It's okay, how might I? When might I? Who might I do this with? What might I do specifically? That's way more manageable, and it, to me, it entices me to actually take action. Let me know your thoughts on this. Okay. So now, this is all I had for you today. I hope it was valuable. Let me know, please, before you go. What was your greatest aha? Put it down in words, because it's scientifically proven that whenever we have an idea, a light bulb moment, when we actually put it down in writing, be it in written format, or you draw it, or you just make a quick note on a piece of paper, or you drop it down below, it's actually going to be incorporated in your whole being way more. Okay? So I'm looking forward to seeing your huge aha. Thanks so much